does anyone else wish that the music just never stopped? Because I know I certainly wish that. Now, I'm joined by Jubes and Skimmy on the desk. We're having a great time here. And it is going to be Peace taking on Chiefs for match number Trace for the day.
I'm gonna do tre. Tre in my native tongue, tre.
Yes, that one. Well, look, let's have a quick jump into the Peace lineup and take us through this one before I scuff any more other languages which I'm not fluent in, Jubes.
Oh, well, I'm not even fluent in English, to be honest with you, but we got Appy in the top lane, Lisa in the jungle, Halo mid, Violet and Aladoric in the bot lane. Now, this team is off the back of, what, 2 losses now? So Lisa coming back in for Kevy as well, important to note. And we definitely want to see them bounce back in what is going to be a very tough game. Obviously, being the bot lane centric team, the bot lane heavy team that, you know, most of their resources go to, and why wouldn't you when Violet carries majority of these games? But against the Chiefs in particular, against Kisei, young blood, fresh mechanical, we want to see Halo have a big performance, right? Maybe they'll go toe-to-toe, and potentially we just see it blow up in the mid lane, right? Maybe solo kills across the board, but again, this Peace team is a team that I'm very excited about and that I do enjoy watching for that particular reason. They're just so volatile the way they play.
Yeah, speaking of
I think
volatility...
I'd love to see Violet just like smurf in the bot lane. Oh, sorry, Mac. I was just going to add on to that for 2 seconds. I'd love to see Violet just pop off in the bot lane and see how Halo holds his nerve up against Kisei, right? As we've seen weeks go by, Kisei's got only better and better, so it'll be an interesting matchup to watch.
Yeah, and as I was going to say, speaking of volatility, the man that has been the most volatile, or I guess has the largest champ pool, is actually Appy. And so far, we've seen him play 8 games, and he hasn't played the same champ twice. And no one else has done that in the LCO yet. There's always been a couple of double-ups, or some players haven't been able to play all of the games for their team. So, you know, that's a nice little fun fact for you all at home. Any thoughts on this one, Jubes? Is it better to be a multi-trick pony or a one-trick pony?
Well, of course, in a competitive sense, you always want to play as many champions as possible, then it makes it harder to draft against you. I think Appy's done extremely well when he's been on the Gnar, been on the Volibear, been on the Camille even. Like, he's had so many champions where he's had really good games, but I think at a certain point, you don't need 8, right? You should, like, really reel it in and start to form the identity around that 8, because there's a high variance of champions, but also a high variance of playstyles that then influence how your team drafts. And so I think sticking to like 1 or 2 playstyles, not necessarily champions, but playstyles, will be super beneficial for this team in finding their feet come playoffs time.
And look, we have to have a quick chat about Chiefs as well before we get into this match. So let's bring up the lineup. And Skimmy, can you take us through this and tell me why Draku's arms are so large?
Yeah, I mean, Draku is he's just unbelievable, right? Not applicable is his name because he's just an unhuman specimen. He's a programmable robot, basically. He just does it all. You know, this game here, a bit of a rough laning phase for him, but definitely coming into the later half of it, I was able to pop off and find his moments to shine, as the rest of his team did, right? You know, the fact that we had Kisei and Swave really running the Rift and showcasing that, hey, we can do things off meta, we can catch our opposition off guard, and get so far ahead of this game. It was unbelievable, right? 12 kills I think we found in the mid lane, but just the team as a whole, very clear identity, wanting to try and play through their jungler. Everything runs through him. Kisei finding the momentum, but then the fact that, you know, Mboma was able to, you know, go for the Ezreal, an uncharacteristic pick in the meta as such, but it found its value. It was able to snipe from afar, keep these members distanced, and you know, when we talk about AD carries in this region, you've definitely got the classics who will stick to the likes of Aphelios, Zarya, Kaiser, and so on, but he's one that likes to say, no, I will play weird and wacky. I will go Ezreal. I will go Ziggs if need be. I will go Heimerdinger. So I always find this team quite interesting.
Are we still waiting to see a Ziggs as well? I think we are. I think someone else we're still waiting to see as well is Nat. She's down on the side lanes as well with a couple of handsome individuals yet again. Nat, who do you have for us for match number 3 of the day?
I do have Violet and Swathe. I don't know why I always introduce you guys so weirdly, but thank you so much for joining me. Violet, I'm going to ask you first. You know, we just heard the desk talking about the fact that Appy has not yet played the same champ in LCO. So it begs the question, is the champ pool, you know, that broad and wide with a lot of people on PS?
Yeah, I'd say everyone on the team can actually play like most champions, and like we're always willing to like learn whatever's good for the meta anyways. So
Well, look, that's got to make it pretty hard then, Swaith, to prepare against. But what sort of prep have you been doing for Peace?
Yeah, so I think like we think of Peace the same as we think of any team. We don't really prepare specifically for them. More so, we're just looking to get a comp that's our style and something that like has an identity that like fits our play styles. So we're not really worried about anything that like they'll play specifically as long as we're in our comfort zone.
How are the vibes down there at Chiefs? You know, you guys have seemingly probably the most roller coaster performance so far in the LCO. So are you coming into this week high hopes, high spirits, and high expectations?
Yeah, I mean, like, I think the boys are always like in high spirits. Like, everyone's like joking around and like memeing before games. Like, everyone gets along really well. Obviously, like, so far against top teams, we haven't really performed. Like, we've lost to Direwolves, Peace previously, and Pentanet as well. So I think this game, like, if we are able to pull out a win, it'll kind of like show that we can compete with the best for the first time this split, because previously we've only been taking games off the weaker teams.
I'm looking forward to it. I do want to ask, how about you guys over at Peace, Violet? How are you guys feeling having now two losses, sorry?
We're still always very excited to play on game days because it's what we always work towards. But taking 2 losses, we've had like a lot to discuss over like the weekend and work on. So we're just gonna continue to focus on improving as the split progresses.
I am looking forward to see what both of your teams have worked on and improved on, and I'm looking forward to the game. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Did he just throw toilet paper in the background?
I was about to make a comment about it, and I thought maybe not.
Can we get a slow motion replay of that, please, production, at some point? But look, before then, let's have a quick look at our predictions for this matchup as well. I can go grab a roll and start to throw it around, especially on Skimmy's prediction, because I don't like that. He's not aligned with us at all.
Look, mate, this is what I think about, right? The fact that you have an android known as not applicable playing the support role for Chiefs, he will get it done. You know, I put my faith in Dragku. We get the copy-paste rolling in chat. I just believe that, you know, if they're on something like they were against Legacy, I feel like if they have something prepared quite nicely into Peace, then it should be a close game. I mean, we look back at their matchup into them. What was it, week 1? It was a 42-minute banger. It was definitely a game that came down to nerves in the late game and who could make the least amount of mistakes. I know that Draco and Aladoric exchanged a lot of words after that one. So if there's anything to go off by that, I feel like this game should be a lot closer than it's made out to be.
Can I ask, Nat, why did we pick Peace?
Let me just go through my little clip notes.
No, we went through this.
I know we did. I've already forgot Tubes. I'm sorry, I can't find it in time.
Me and Nat decided that we would go for
together.
Peace. Yeah, we had the discussion. Obviously, we don't come to the conclusion without the discussion. We decided that the inexperience from Kisei would be punished by Peace. A little bit too aggressive at times. Halo likes to match that aggression, but I think this is where Lisa really comes in and plays well around his mid laner. Appy is a little bit too stable on his champion pools and how he plays top lane, and I think they'll just find an avenue through mid lane to win this one.
Look,
that's actually, you just took the words out of my mouth. That's almost what I was going to say, Jubes.
There you have it.
100%. I knew you were, and it sometimes just takes someone to bring the best out of you, and I think we've brought it out now.
That's it. This is my A game. This is the peak performance I'll ever have.
Absolute.
This is peak natty.
Peak natty. No roids here. And on that note, let's throw it into the champ select. It's Peace and Chiefs. Take it away, boys.
Well, on that transition, who knows where we go from here, Jude?
How do you top it? How do you top that transition? You don't. You just pack up champ select, let them play whatever they want. I'll go home, and
we'll let Mac take over the show again.
Too.
Another solo cast once again. You know, we'll see what he can bring to the table, and we'll see what actually we can get from the drafting phase at least. Heimerdinger removed, one of those comfort champions that Mboma loves to flex whenever given the opportunity. Was played last time these two teams met and found good success, allowing Draco on the rail to roam all over the map and try and find assisting angles. Lisa, welcome back into the roster, and he's going to start off here as the Hecarim.
I feel like Peace get a lot of their inspiration from draft and how they play the game from the LPL. So it's no surprise seeing Hecarim just snap lock there instantly. It's like in every LPL game, it's just Hecarim being perma-picked, chem tank build, and just running rampant. And to be completely honest, I think if you had to mimic a playstyle, sometimes with how chaotic OS games get, LPL drafts and LPL team compositions often find a lot of success. There's also at times, teams we try to draft very LCK-centric with the Scion mid and things like that, but it doesn't really have as great a success as those volatile kind of skirmish-heavy compositions.
Yeah, not a bad way to go, right? Given the fact that sometimes we're seeing multiple things happen at once, and it's not usually the most beautiful or the elegant game, as some people may put it, the macro monster that we see coming out of the LCK. Regardless, though, Karma's being picked up here. Obviously a strong pick in its own right, but definitely feels like a two-sided pick in that it can deny the power that Peace may have presented it when combined with the Hecarim, obviously the Graves as well, a strong AD jungler with fast tempo and clear that could do quite well into all of the picks that Peace have thrown their way so far.
I'm actually not entirely sure how Peace have ended up with all these picks.
Yeah.
They've ended up with some power picks in every role. Thresh being banned, meaning Rel has a much easier laning phase. Obviously, Draku might opt in for the Alistar here because he won't want that to get banned away. And even then, they haven't opted in for that. So, Draku might have a plan. Something that he likes playing into the Rel, but if they opt in for 2 support bans here, it could spell a little bit of trouble in the bot lane. So I'm interested to see what they do here. But yeah, Kai'Sa, pretty much first picked in most regions or taken away. Hecarim, Rel, looking pretty scary so far for the side of Peace.
Yeah, and you start to wonder, right? We've seen a situation like this happen already when Peace went up against Pentanet.gg and they, sort of gave across the Exodia of drafts, if you will, right? Where you've got those first 3 picks and think, hang on a minute, how did the draft go in this way? But clearly Chiefs have a plan. They've got something prepared here to allow Peace that comfort. We keep talking about the word comfort and what it really means, but coming into this one, no doubt Peace will be looking for some of that as they've had 2 defeats on the go, and Chiefs are hot at their heels, only 1 game away from being tied in that second position. So no doubt they want to try and throw them a curveball and say, I bet you didn't expect this.
Yeah, and I'm just really curious to see how these last bans play out. They're definitely taking their time, having a very big discussion, taking 2 mid lane champions away from Halo.
Okay.
Arguably, he probably looked his best on Orianna in the LCO so far.
There's moments of Syndra, of course, as well. So Syndra's still an option available for him.
Yeah, that's true. But again, maybe Kisei is going to opt in for... Kisei's got a weird champion pool. He plays everything that you wouldn't expect him to play. He's even been putting in a lot of time and Talon this week. Is he going to rip out Talon? Plays the Nocturne. Is he going to play Nocturne's first band, rather? But, that's the type of player that he is.
They played the Anivia last time these 2 teams met, right? So definitely a champion or a player, much like Winter, where that he has this big champion pool and he's not afraid to let scrims or solo queue or just personal preference leak into stage games. We get to see where he goes with that one. Sinner's the acquisition on the side of the Chiefs, maybe going for a fasting Sinner lane. We'll have to wait and see. Peace, though, with those 2 bans targeted towards Halo, he will revert back to the Syndra. Had that stand-up performance in week number 1 where he was able to flash on forward and guarantee multiple kills, so looking to try and tap into some of that magic again.
Yeah. And so what I think is the Aatrox locked into the Scion, so probably going to see a similar mirror matchup, not much happening in the top side of the map that we saw last game. But it's likely looking like to be Senna Karma bot lane. I know Draku does like to play Enchanter support a lot, and we do talk about his engage type playstyle, but potentially they're just going to opt in for a full harass lane, Kai'Sa being short range, Rel being melee range, basically. So, yeah, it is. It's going to be a Senna lane. The Senna's going to be probably starved. Karma's going to be the one farming, be able to get to those, those crucial item breakpoints a lot quicker. And we might even just see Kisei on the Scion. So, it's really not what we expected from the Chiefs, if I'm being completely honest.
No, this is a massive, massive switch up from what we've seen in the weeks go by, right? And I'm going to be quite curious to find out, from the coaching interview that we get as to sort of really what this means. Is this a big shift in particular for this team, or is this more a case of, look, we want to bring something new to the table, second round robin, we need to have multiple identities going into playoffs, so now's the time to learn and practice.
And it honestly is a Chiefs composition. Draku, for me, is a player who has definitely made his name, like I said, on engaged supports, but I would almost consider him more of an enchanter. He really likes Yuumi, and he put in so many games into Yuumi, put in so many games to the Soraka and things like that, so it genuinely wouldn't surprise me. Oh, and he's not even going to be on the Karma.
Is it happening?
Just scrap it.
Are we having a fasting Scion? Is that happening?
Yeah, just scrap it.
Wow. Break the meta. Not applicable for a reason. He's jacked. What does he bench? 130.
Yeah.
He's
Does he
a-
bench 130?
He's a king. I get the DMs from him. 135 is the word I've just got here from Nat.
Yeah,
135. The man is a machine, a monster. He cosplays Sion IRL. And now he's going to say, look, Jubes, you only thought it got flexed into the mid lane. Look, I'll show you that we can actually play it in bot lane too.
I actually heard, believe it or not, that when Riot made Sion, they got a portrait of Draku and they said, you know what, this is the guy we're gonna make
really?
Sion. Yeah, that's what I heard.
Oh,
I
true.
got contacts. Yeah, I got contacts.
You got your sources, and I don't deny that for a second. I believe every word you said, and you know, why wouldn't I? Because it's a composition where it is all about going forwards, being aggressive and engaging, and I'm really excited to actually see how the Sion fares into the rail.
Well, it's nice because Imboma's just going to be really strong, right? They're going to have a solid laning phase in theory, not going to be able to, you know, be at too much of a deficit. And then they have this Karma who's just going to really empower and peel the likes of Imboma, the likes of Swaith, and there's just multiple threats. But because Draku's getting the farm, he's going to be somewhat of an immovable object in these team fights. So it is going to be like a kite back type of composition from the Chiefs, where Lived will be coming in from the side, whereas Peace just want to have that traditional like Aladoric engage, Lisa be secondary engage, and just dive backline. So they're two kind of different compositions, and they both have win cons, but they could, you know, the Chiefs draft, if you will, takes a little more elegance in the sense that they really need to keep Imboma alive, or Swaith at the very least, because they can have lack damage in the damage department.
Well, to break down some of the elegance, we do have Coach Kuden from the Chiefs on standby, ready to break down some of the intricacies here. And I suppose the first question I'll ask, Kuden, welcome back onto the stream again, is the fact that you've mentioned in the past that Draku is the best support in the region. Tell me a little bit about the Sion support. This is some interesting tech.
Not only is he the best support, but before that he was also the best top laner in the region, you know. I hadn't realized that I just forgot that he used to be the best top lane, and I realized we should be making him play top lanes, but in the bot lane instead. You know what I mean?
Is this maybe a little bit more personal because he's going up against former teammates where he actually played top lane for us? Is this like the double whammy in your head mind games?
Yep, exactly. The only reason why they won any games because they had Draku top. Back then.
Now, Mike, can I jump in here and just say, I've heard rumors on the street, and this is why I'm participating in this interview, that you are the best person to interview in the league. Can you confirm or deny that?
Always have been. Always have been.
Always have been.
I've never been
You've
interviewed
always been
until
the bubbly, out there personality.
I know.
So,
Always
talk to me, Kuden. Talk to me about this game, about this draft. It's definitely something we're not used to seeing in the LCO. Talk to us about how you see this game playing out and what you really want from the guys in the early to mid game.
What I want is every lane to be gapping their lane. Graves will be up 100 CS. Everyone's up 100 CS in every lane. That's what I want to see. And I want to see Cloud Soul, Elder Dragon, Baron, 3 inhibs, everything. And I don't want to
Yeah, but Mike, I want to see Peaks fly too, but sometimes it doesn't happen.
Yeah, they can try, but
we need to talk about.
they can try.
Yeah,
They should have.
of course.
They should have put Kevin if they wanted to do that.
Mike, last question. Mike, last question from me, okay? And we're going to make this one about you. How has the transition been to being a coach? Because you do come off as sort of a shy guy, one that doesn't talk particularly too much. But what's it like being coaching a team and having some rookies on the roster like Kisei and really helping him develop into the player that he's become? Talk to me what that experience has been like.
It's been, I feel like, because I used to be a pro, it's not, and I know, I think it's been real good. It's been not that hard. I feel I can connect. I feel like I'm more of an interpersonal. I'm like, I don't really talk to people outside, but these guys are like my family now. So I feel easy to connect. And I like that. I think that's what my job should be. No,
Yeah,
I wasn't
and
that
like
good.
we like you too, and
Number 1. Yeah.
we like you too, and we're going to have to let you go here, okay? Because there's a lot of action taking place, and we thank you for
Can
your
I say
time,
one
and
last thing?
good luck.
It's
Maybe.
all yours. Go for it, mate.
We got a number 1 victory for you. We got a number 1 victory for you.
Well, there you go. You heard it here
Alright,
first.
we'll see you later, Mike.
The best
I don't
coach
even
in the
know.
league.
I don't even know what he said. I'll be honest with you. Can you tell me what he said, Skinny?
I think it was a little voodoo chant to get into the heads and the minds of Peace to ensure that they're going to win this game. Because so far, I've seen a few little punch-ons, a few brawls, a few junglers popping their head in, saying hello. And I'm actually really enjoying the Sun support.
I unironically love the Kuden interviews, by the way. They're
a fan favorite. They're a fan favorite. You always are going to have some enjoyment with them.
He just speaks facts. He says a lot with a little bit. You know what I mean? He says a lot with a little bit.
I love it so much because, you know, if you poke the bear, there's a yarn ready to go. He's ready to spit hot fire.
Like, okay, and might be a gank in the top lane. Level 3 Graves. Down to level 4.
Graves indeed.
Yeah.
Swaif looking for that first blood right now. Lived out of mana. Forcing out the flash. He flashes to follow, says hello, gets first blood. And, well, a cross-map play takes place. Says now they collapse on Kisso, who burnt flash, but he will die in the mid lane too.
But wasn't this exactly what we said before the game, right? This is what I thought would be the determining factor in this game. Kisei a little too aggressive, little bit too inexperienced. Lisa's too smart to punish that. Nice stun coming out of Halo, and whilst it's first blood in the top lane, you have to say the Syndra Hecarim type matchup is going to be far more volatile than the Aatrox, you know, being slightly behind.
Well, first to spanner in the works of things. 2 plays happening at once. Both junglers 100% participation, able to get their team on the board and find the areas of the map that they want to get online as quickly as possible. Make sure that the Camilla's strong, make sure that the 2-item spike comes as quickly as possible, but also make sure that if Halo's being targeted, and he has been in many of these games in the LCO Split so far, that he has the agency, that he has gold and resources, that he can be that playmaker and flash forward creator.
Yeah, and so we're seeing a pretty stable bot lane player at the moment, to be honest, but Chiefs, or Draku rather, having no flash, they aren't able to get this wave in, and this is very dangerous territory. So we're seeing Lisa pass towards the bot side, but at this point, and we're seeing the all-in here.
That we certainly are right now. Draku in a whole lot of trouble. He's going to look to try and disengage away, but he's already burnt that flash into the afterlife. And here to punch on. Going to do as much damage as he can into Lisa. As Swaif is in the vicinity, he has no ultimate, so the ultimate impact would not have been there to guarantee that kill. And you can already start to get a bit of a sense of how scrappy some of these fights may be.
But that was my concern with the center Sion lane. It's that for Rel to be, Rel to be useless, I thought we might see all-in in the mid lane, so I kind of just started on my words there. But for Rel to have a rough laning phase, you need something to deny the engage. And it's quite straightforward, like she just jumps up in front of you, you're able to either flay it, pulverize it, you know, Gragas body slam even. But Sion has the channel Q, so it doesn't really have a reliable means to stop the engage from Rel. And, you know, ultimately Lisa gets the kill, but that's just basically a 2v2 kill, right? Like, I don't think Draku's living in that situation, and it does seem like a fairly rough lane, and it's almost going to be down to, like, damage control and how can they get out of this lane without, you know, that significant gold deficit.
Yeah, because, I mean, we think about Senna, for example, and how she's wanting to try and farm up as quickly as possible, hence the fasting Senna for the quicker soul acquisition. Always catches people off guard when you see, hang on a minute, why on earth is the support farming that gold? But maybe a bit of insight into this game is the fact that, you know, last time it was such a closely heated late game bonanza that, you know, they feel quite comfortable to say, in Boma, if we're going to leave you to your own, that we want to give you as many of those souls as possible. We want to transition into those 30-minute fights and say that, hey, we can go toe-to-toe with what Kaiser's bringing to the table here. Unfortunately,
Skimmy, Senna's not the AD carry that you can leave to her lonesome. She will be punished, especially into the Rel Kaiser as well as the Hecarim. But a little bit of an invade here.
Yeah, both junglers showcasing what they can do. As come down the top lane Bruises, now Liv in a situation where he finds himself locked in place. The slingshot does not connect. He's forced to flash away, dodges out the Hecarim ult, hits the blast cone to disengage away, and the Chiefs walk in and they damn well walk out.
He missed the Hecarim ult, and there's a solo kill in the mid lane, by the way, just off screen. So Halo doing work on the Syndra there.
Swaif hitting them with a little bit of attacks right now. He might actually die, as you say. He is. Oh no, he had vision, Juves. He saw it on the wall, but he decided that Tax was far more appealing. And just take a quick stock check. If you hit tab right there, Lisa is so far ahead in CS and 3 kills to his name as well. Welcome back.
The problem, okay, we'll just digest this replay first. So it is really just a little bit of disrespect coming out of Kisei. Halo lands all of his abilities, and of course, probably, okay, a little bit of a dance, fancy feet. Who can hit and who can miss? Yeah, I mean, that's what I was talking about though. These two mid laners, right? Like they're always going to go for the 1v1. They're always going to go for the skill check. And to be completely honest, Kisei is not playing the type of mid laner where you want to opt in for those. And wait a second. Off screen.
They're making it so hard for our observers, hey?
Yeah, I mean, it's very hard. Very hard, and it's very hard to break down what's happening in this game just because there's so much carnage, so much chaos. So there's a solo kill in the top lane. Look, the Camille matchup is slightly Aatrox favored early on. Camille does scale into the matchup extremely well, but if you start dying in the 1v1, then it's going to get longer and longer before you're able to take over. Oh, wow. He managed to buffer Aatrox Q2, but not Q3, and Q3 is definitely the one you want to be juking.
Yeah, the big bullseye target in the middle, and that was literally one auto attack to separate those two. Liver's going to feel quite upset about that one. And I suppose, just to touch on it quickly, it kind of looks like top lane is the same as mid lane, both punching on and showcasing it all about the fights. Yeah,
and it's what Peace like, right? They want to take you into skill check territory because they're confident 9 times out of 10 that they're going to win the game. And then if you look at teams like Pentanet, when they play them, they don't really opt in for the skill check. They just play the map and play the team fight. So Chiefs have definitely kind of opted in for the game that Peace really succeed in, and at the moment they're suffering.
Certainly are. And
obviously it comes down to draft too, right? In the sense that you're drafting the Karma, you're drafting these lanes that don't necessarily want to opt in for solo kills. You want to be able to farm, get out of lane, and then really show them what you're about.
I mean, and without a doubt too, right? You know, the fact is you're looking at a Camille that wants to hit those item spikes to come out of lane. You've got a Senna also wanting to do the same, and a Karma that wants to free rotate to buff up the team, right? Looking to go for that more supportive build is what we're seeing here, as opposed to a full AP build. You get to see how Chiefs can look to navigate this mid game now, because finding himself 2k, only 11 minutes into this one, it feels like a bit of a situation where jungle camps, or even just objectives as a whole, there is no emphasis for Swave to even look at that now.
Yeah, I mean, at this point in the game, the Graves ship has sailed. And
but the Peace ship is here to play as they jump on through there. The Horse Club, they come together, they gallop into battle, and between the Magnet Storm and the Onslaught of Shadows, they get it done.
I'll tell you what, mate, Lisa's having a blind day, isn't he? I mean, it's obviously being facilitated well by his team in that scenario in the bot side of the map, but he's just where he needs to be in all the crucial moments, and he's really had the track of Swathe in a jungle matchup in which he shouldn't really have tempo or priority early. So you normally draft the Graves to put Hecarim behind early because, you know, levels 1 to 2, even 3, you can't really contest the Graves. The Graves are just too strong, especially with the red buff, but he managed to bridge that gap, Lisa, managed to get kills early on in the matchup, and it is so snowbally that once the Hecarim gets ahead, he's able to just do things like that, and, you know, Graves is just always going to be behind the pace now.
Certainly is, and it's a bit of a rough situation to find yourself in, and one that's going to keep him locked up in the jungle for a fair bit of time right now. We've had a chance to really poke his head into anywhere else. He wants to try and get himself into a relevant state. Going to take a fair bit of work to catch up to the power that Lisa's at, and yes, he's doing a fair job to get on top of that with the CS equalizing, but the fact that you're still going into a Hecarim with 3 items, and they find themselves now with the mythic items to bolster the damage that much more. A Kim tank, a Kraken Slayer, they'll force fights, and no doubt they'll win.
Yeah, it's just a battle of the mythics at the moment, isn't it? And Swathe may be looking for a lane gank here, but I don't even think they have enough juice to take Appy down here. I think he may even just turn this 1v2 and trade with Liv.
He might look for it right now. Buffers out with the Hextech ultimate and locks him in place with a smoke screen, going for the flash away, trying to buy as much time as possible. Add collateral damage. There's the Center Cannon from downtown. Dawning Shadow to do whatever he can. They find the kill. Liv flashes into the Pixie Brush, now looking to try and do whatever he can, but gets outplayed by Unleash, the power of multiple orbs coming his way. The boys are back in town, and they rock up, and they give him assistance.
Yeah, and outplay button hit by Halo, managing to take down Liv in the top lane. And for me, the most important part of League of Legends, you know, in 9 out of 10 games, is taking mid turret. Once you take mid turret, we're going to see Lisa really start to eat Swade's jungle, and you know it's going to be Aladoric behind him to facilitate that. Violet will be coming in, you know, last with the Kai'Sa ultimate, and this game's only going to get harder and harder for Chiefs, especially when the map's going to be opened up like this.
Seems like a little bit of angry gaming coming out here from Peace. And maybe having a competitive roster between 2 different junglers and having a few games having not gone your way right now, knowing that second position you find yourself in as Peace could be in jeopardy with many teams keen to dethrone you. They look like they've come in with a game plan here. In the first 15 minutes have proved that gold leads, item advantages, jungle dominance, and shutting down a lot of the win conditions that have made Chiefs so successful so far.
And you wonder how much influence, and just to play, like, well, not even devil's advocate, but just to give you something else to think about, how much has Kevy's influence had on the team with Lisa, right? Like, in terms of, you sit away for 1 week, you watch the games, you work with each other in scrims, taking a back seat, helping each other out, and, they did mention that that's the type of relationship that they have now, and it looks like we're seeing the junglers really level up from the side of Peace. Another kill off screen.
Another kill off screen, and it's that man again. It's Mr. Halo getting it done now. 3-0-1, bounty on his head. Living his best life as this Syndra. Luden's Tempest is there, and that really is the power spike of all power spikes for a Syndra to start executing and spamming orbs just to give you a world of pain.
And Aatrox Appy again might be in trouble. This time he probably does fall down to 3 members.
It's going to be Kisei that soaks up the turret first and foremost. He's going to go for the empowered Tether. He fell on down, and he burnt the flash too. Jubes, it's a disaster. It's a 1-for-1 trade, but Appy takes that. Knowing that he removed the support really more than anything in Kisei, and they can defend this top turret.
Yeah, it's a 1-for-1 in a situation in which you can't afford to have that, because if you look opposite side of the map, Halo is taking turret. He's proxying at that point, but he's also just denying minions, eating waves, CS lead building. This is the solo kill we saw off screen. Don't think Draku really expected the damage coming out of Swayze, because in the games where Draku's playing Sion, he's probably like, oh, I'm a tank, I'm tank Sion, and I really think that just caught him by surprise. He's like, okay then.
40% thinking, you know what, we're chilling. We're just going to farm that wave, eat that up, prevent this side lane or side wave being blown out of proportion. And, oh, wait a minute. I have been unleashed. 40% and you're gone. Afterlife will do whatever it can to trim that wave. But just to return to that top lane play before, I like the idea that Kisei was bringing there, right? Go for the turret dive, go for the empowered Tether, get your life back. But the fact is, the damage output that was coming on through, there wasn't enough time to wait for that Tether to complete.
You just got to flash early. I mean, that's ultimately what it was. He just took one too many Aatrox Qs under turret to be able to survive that one. The right idea, but just mis-execution. And honestly, it just seems like it's a game of mis-execution for the Chiefs side. But then I think when you word it like that, it belittles a little bit what Peace have done in this game. And, they've just played perfect almost to a T.
For sure. For sure. And once again, it's that man on your screen and Appy. The fact that, he's played pretty much anything asked of him. I feel like he's really breaking into the category right now as a top 2 contender for, best top laner in the region. We talk about Biopanther maybe holding that crown, arguably. Yeah. Another player that pretty much will play anything. And I think when you have a player like that on your roster, if they can play these champions at that caliber ready for stage games, I mean, you're living in paradise.
Yeah. It's funny that we talk about him as he's 2-3-1. Probably, he has the worst score on his team, but you have to say he's absorbed a lot of pressure, been able to trade 1-for-1 on most scenarios. And yeah, if you wanted to be hypercritical, there's probably instances where he should have just backed off turret, played the safe game, but we opted in for a bit of a limit test, and can't say we don't like the limit test here in Oceania.
We do know that this is 2 teams that will look to try and mechanics max one another and showcase that, hey, we are better in the 1v1, the 2v2, or whatever it may be. But so far, it's Peace that find themselves 18 minutes into this one. So we have the bit of mechanics. We're up by 5k gold. We've got ourselves all these objectives to play for. 2 dragons to our name so far, and we've got the power in all the right places. We talk about it sometimes being the Violet show, where he has this big burden of execution to pop off and show up and rival the likes of Praedif and other AD carries in the region to show, he is in that top 2 position conversation as well. But no, a lot of that has been alleviated. This time, Halo is not the one that gets camped. He's in a place of power, and Lisa's reintroduction has shown that, hey, 6 kills flawlessly between the 2 of us. We run this map.
Well, we did say before the game, again, just to reiterate, that first jungle gank in mid lane is going to swing the game, right? And we talked about that either being Kisei or Halo, because they're both so aggressive, and you hate to see it.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I mean, you hate to see it.
Well, whilst we hate to see that, we'll look to see what this means. Storming Shadow goes across the map. I'm going to buy a little bit of time here for Liv, whilst also damaging that of Appy. A 3-man collapse. We sing his praises, and he is a bit of a sponge.
Yeah.
We know what he can do, but he's going to fall on down again.
We can only sing his praises for so much. That's not being a sponge. That is absolutely limit test behavior. And Sion engaging here.
Certainly is. And that might be all he does as he realizes that might not be the fight I'm looking for. Dragon up in 20. That would put Peace on Soul Point and an Infernal Soul at that. So given the fact that Hecarim and Syndra are this strong already, that extra burn is going to work wonders.
Yeah, and it does look like the way that Chiefs are vying for mid lane priority, it looks like they want to contest. They don't want to go down to Soul Point, and I think now they've decided, you know what, this is the one to give. See the recalls coming out from Draco, coming out from Sion, not having the ultimate on the Senna, on the Sion. It's just really a no contest, and it does give them 5 minutes more of farming, 5 minutes more of Senna souls, so I'm sure they'll take that and be happy with it. But, you know, next Dragon, it's definitely going to have to be a contest, and Swathe might be caught again.
It will have to be a contest. As Swathe going to have to be quite content here, sitting on that Gale Force, work his way towards that LDR, but that still seems like a bit of a distant afterthought. Scrappy skirmishes, Aladora going for the all-in, jumps on through, pops the Magnet Sword preemptively. Now Dracu taking up the world and more, 1v3, hits the knockup, blocks and plates Aladora, who's soaking up the damage and manages to live to tell the tale. How on earth, I'll never know. In the end though, it is Swathe that falls on down in a prolonged fight. He looked like the one that was caught, and in the end, was.
Just the TP gap there. You know, it's a decent fight, or contest rather, coming out of Chiefs, but not taking stock of the teleport advantage. And if there's one thing Appy will do, if there's one thing you can bet your dollar on, he's going to teleport first. It doesn't matter if it's for 1 kill, if it's for half a kill, if it's for no kill. Appy will be there, and he'll be there to support his team. So teleports in, loses some waves top, also loses the turret. So if you're a Chiefs fan, it's not all doom and gloom in that teleport play. He's able to pick up a turret.
And no doubt Liv now will be looking to try and get himself that Ravenous Hydra as quickly as possible. But talking about Iron Spikes, let's talk about fights that actually happen on the map right now. Halo in trouble. Here he is. Lived with the Trinity Force, gets a shutdown, takes out Syndra, and Nada looking for more, looking to try and bully their way into the top side of this map. And Piece of scrambling, they'll hit a blast cone and they'll disengage away to the top tier 2. But even they look like they were caught a little bit off guard by that.
And that was 1k pretty much. I think it was like 700 gold or 1k in the pocket of Camille there. And this is definitely not what they want to be doing. Senna is notoriously one of the slowest Baron takers in the game. Halo has teleport.
And about this one, Chief, but they're going to be looking, no doubt, for a center route. They can look to try and start this fight off in their favor, then collapse upon it. There is no Hex to ultimate him, but there is a flash available for the Camille. The Baron bait, the Baron dance, it's all there. They all pile drive on through, looking to try and take out Appy. He's just so tanky! What on earth are we watching right now? He soaks up the damage. He is the Sion reincarnate, but it is the Quadra kill, and it is the scumbag pin to denial. Oh no. Violent with the Quadra. He saw the stars align, but it's denied again.
Is that unacceptable? Is that unacceptable behavior?
It's reportable behavior.
I think it is unacceptable. But Violet will have a chat with him after the game, that's for sure, whether win, lose, or draw. Can't draw in League of Legends, actually, so we'll just say win or lose. Violet, again, and you know what's funny, Skimmy? We talked about Violet being quiet this game.
Yeah.
And that's a good sign for the Chiefs, right? But Halo was obviously stepping up big time in this game, in this transition. And the problem when you have a player like Violet on your roster is that you keep him quiet all game, and uninterrupted, he can just do this to you in a team fight. Just picks up a quadruple, gets to the back end to clean up, and you think the Penta's here, but again, just taken away. And it felt a little bit forced from the Chiefs, you know? Why did they think they needed to make that play? It's a little bit of the classic syndrome where you get to a certain point in the game, you make some picks, hold that thought, Skimmy again.
Yeah, but it's not allowed to talk right now. It might be Dracu that's the sacrificial lamb. He'll fall on down. It's going to be Violet now. Picks up his 5th kill in this match. They'll dash, they'll crash, but Violet comes across with you. It's the mechanic show, and he'll start up with another double kill, and will force Chiefs to back away. And I mean, we just returned to that point once again. The Chiefs felt like they needed to do something. Maybe now looking back at it, they really didn't.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. Like, they got a, 1,000 gold bounty onto the side of Camille. They picked up another kill as well, burn a few summoner spells. You'd have to be, you have to be happy with that, right? Camille all of a sudden becomes your win condition, can start to win the side lane, or with the Karma can be very useful in the group. And they just tried to take the Baron with such a slow Baron taking team, and that was their ultimate demise.
And demise that has costed them dearly, as they will find themselves 11k gold down juice at the 24-minute mark. They'll bleed some structures. 6 turrets to 1. That's the mid inhibitor. And they don't seem to be done just yet. They want to try and end this game early. They're going to go for the face check. Out goes the Swaith. Oh, Swaith! Gone before you can even say goodbye. Blink and you'll miss it. And 2 members of Chiefs just get evaporated.
I wanted to give a shout out before they went for the bush check there or whatever. I wanted to give a shout out to the little counter we got in the top left hand side with the Baron buff duration. 50 seconds left. Absolutely smurfing there from our production team. And that might be game skimmy.
Certainly might be. You could understand exactly what they were trying to put on the table, and it paid off beautifully. There he goes again, jumping into the back line without a fear in the world. And it's good signs when Peace have power all across the board. It isn't necessarily just the Violet show. He can pop off, he's shown you here again, but the rest of the team have come together from start to finish, and it's 25 minutes on the clock.
25 minutes in, what a statement game. You know, we asked them, how are you guys responding to having those 2 losses? And, well, is that a response, Skimmy?
Oh, without a doubt. Without a doubt. I suppose it goes back to that original question, right, of having that competitive jungling position. Are they looking to really set aside rivalries or game time between one another and say, how do we get ourselves back on the horse? How do we get ourselves back into the mix of, remember why people thought we were a top 2 or a challenging team to win the LCO? And Mac, I mean, you look at that and you think, hang on a minute, that is completely different to the piece we saw last week.
Yeah, a piece that went back to the form of looking like they had a whole lot of chemistry there, whole lot of cohesion, and I dare say that's because, again, they allowed Violet to have that Kaiser. And this begs the question that I want to, send to you guys here, is how does Violet keep getting the Kaiser and the Zarya? Why is he the one not getting target banned in this lineup?
I think it's because that there's too much to take away from the side of Peace. You don't have the luxury of just banning that away. And ultimately, he's just that good that he's going to do it on another AD carry anyway. So it's like you just take you pick your poison almost, right, when it comes to Violet. Yeah. And again, in this game, they did a very good job in neutralizing the bot lane. Yes, they did die, but in the sense that we weren't talking about it being the Violet show. You know, the person that bridged the gap and bridged the early to mid game was really Halo on that Syndra, being able to pick up, getting the early gank, picking up the solo kill, and just felt like it was always an uphill battle for the Chiefs. And if I'm being completely honest, if I look at nameplates, I see champions. This is kind of an Exodia draft for Peace, right? Getting the Hecarim for Lisa, Syndra for Halo, Violet, Aladoric on those 2 champions in particular. It's like I couldn't think of something that they would want more than that. So it's almost like back to the drawing board for Chiefs. Yes, maybe there's things they could have improved on, but potentially are they opting in for a redraft in this scenario?
I think when you sort of boil it down, right, you mentioned from those first 3 pictures thinking how on earth have Peace managed to pull this one off, but it felt very much like Chiefs were lulling them into that state to say, we'll give you everything because we've got this prepared. And it was a clear game plan to go for and a clear idea of what they were trying to bring and sort of cause a little bit of an upset, but it's the execution. When you find yourself in a situation where the Hecarim is 3-0 that early on, you start to wonder, where did it all go wrong and how do we really recover from this one? And I think there was no better example from the highlights there where they forced their hand after the initial 1K shutdown to Halo. We've got to go for more. We've got to pile drive it and guarantee this Baron bait dance means more. And ultimately, they've fallen down from there. So they're gonna beat themselves up over that one. But for Peace, they're gonna be stoked with that victory, no doubt.
Yeah, and look, building on top of, we're looking at the champs down here, building on top of what we spoke about before this game with AP is, again, that's 9 from 9. He hasn't played that champ at the top lane yet. So it still continues to be a trend. Let's see if he goes 10 from 10 tomorrow. If he does, that's absolutely crazy. But look, let's bring Nat in. She's been down on the sidelines watching the fiesta, the crazy battle of battles, just straight from the get-go. A whole lot of action that game. And Nat, who do you have to have a chat to?
Well, I'm hoping I'm going to be joined by Lisa because that early game was just an insane performance for you. Congratulations on that win, but walk me through the early game because I think you were like 3-0, 4-0 by like 10 before 10 minutes or something. It was just wild.
Well, I say it's just the Hecarim sim, the Hecarim special. Every time I just walk to the place, people like my teammate just calling me, "Oh, look at this guy, look at this guy." I'm just like pressing ghosts and pressing my buttons, like just running them down, I guess.
Was it more just, was there communications to set up those ganks, or was it, oh, you're that side of the map, hey, this guy's overextended, come help us get this kill?
Oh yeah, definitely. So I was trying to just babysit my teammate, but like there's a opportunity to kill them, so we just took it.
Very nice. I mean, it paid off. You guys seem to snowball and not really stop. But can you talk me through about the Baron fight and then on to finishing the game? It felt very like, you know, methodical. You guys didn't take too many risks in this game.
Oh yeah, I remember like that's when we tried to catch the Camille. He was walking to us, but suddenly our Syndra got killed. But we just tried to do Baron. Like we know they'll come to Baron really slow, so we took our time and waited to Syndra to TP and just wait for the big moment. But Violet Penta, that was like a big miscommunication. We got really sad afterward.
No, well look, tell him even though he missed his Penta, he still played fabulously. I do have one last question though. Violet in the pre-game was talking about how you guys spent the weekend working on any problems you had at the team. Do you think that this game has outlined the efforts that you've put into it and that most of the problems are, you know, really being worked through and this game's shown that?
Oh yeah, of course. Because from last week's game, we showed a lot of our weakness and we know our team has a lot to improve on. So like we worked really hard on this week in the streams and try to fix all these problems, and we win. That's how it shows.
That's it. You find the problems, you fix them, and you win. Well, congratulations on that win, and hopefully we see some more outstanding performances for you for the rest of the week.
Thank you.
There you have it. So good to see they've been working on their problems and they've managed to fix that, or at least at face value, it certainly looks like they played a much better game today than they did last week. So good to hear from Lisa there, Nat.
Yeah, it was. I mean, look, Peace had an outstanding performance, but a bit of me is worried that the Chiefs guys keep talking about how they treat everyone the same and they like really want to focus on themselves. Is like, at what point do you start really just honing in on what you have to do for this certain team that you're coming up against? But we'll see.
Look, that's the real question, and we can discuss that between ourselves before match number 4 of the day, which is going to be Direwolves taking on Pentanet, which is potential for another banger. Direwolves on the come up, Pentanet still defending the undefeated title. That's coming up just after this break.
It's all there, they all pile drive on through, looking to try and take out Appy. He's just so tanky! What on earth are we watching right now? He soaks the damage, he is the Scion reincarnate, but it is the con- Yeah, but it's not allowed to talk right now. It might be Dracu that's the sacrificial lamb, he'll fall on down. It's going to be Violet now, picks up his 5th kill in this match. They'll dash, they'll crash, but Violet comes across with you. It's the mechanic show, and he'll start it up with another. Don't seem to be done just yet. They want to try and end this game early. They're going to go for the face check. Out goes the sweep. Oh, sweep!